Are you struggling with midlife weight gain, low energy, and the stress that comes with menopause? In this episode of the Menowave Lounge, we dive deep into real solutions. We'll explore the power of mindset, emotional health, and self-awareness in achieving overall wellness. Our expert shares insights on navigating health challenges and reveals some surprising truths that can actually benefit your health. Join us for personal stories, practical tips, and a path to self-care and empowerment. Keep listening to this episode of the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations to discover how to make this midlife journey a little bit easier.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. I'm Coach Robin, and this is Marti Daly. Today, we are welcoming Erin Esser. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Robin. It's good to be here.
We're so happy to have you. With over 14 years in the health, wellness, and coaching world, Erin has a wealth of experience as a certified kettlebell instructor and nutrition coach. She has guided hundreds of women toward their health and weight loss goals since 2000. Erin understands the challenges of midlife weight gain, low energy, and feeling overwhelmed because she has faced them herself. By applying the strategy she now teaches in the Jumpstart Your Weight Loss Midlife program, Erin shed 60 pounds, regained her vitality, and reclaimed her passion for life. Erin is a mom of 3 and currently lives in South Carolina, and her actionable words for 2024 are adventure, impact, health, and growth, which she lives out every day. So we're super excited to talk with you, Erin. But before we begin, we always start our show with sharing a Meno moment, which is just a funny or insightful moment that we experience going through this change of life. I would love to start because it was really funny, this one. Last night I was making salad for dinner, and it was those 2-pack bags that are joined together at the top. So I go and I get my scissors out of the kitchen drawer and I separate them and I cut open the bag. I'm doing my salad, and I go later to clean up the kitchen and I open up the drawer to put where my scissors go. I found a bag of salad in there. I guess I thought I was putting my scissors back in the drawer, and instead I put the salad in there. And because we'd eaten the other bag of salad, we didn't really notice. So I'm glad I caught it, within a few minutes versus days. That would have been really sad and disgusting. How about you, Robin? Do you have any fun Meno moments or?
Well, my Meno moments have been more like succumbing to my stressors, and I've been a little stressing out this last couple of days because I've had a lot on my plate. So yesterday, on top of having a real busy day, I decided that I needed more stressors, more things to do. And so I went down and vacuumed out both my car and my boyfriend's truck, which was like, Sandville and hair, dog hair and everything like that. It took me like an hour and a half. And I think by the time I got done with it, I was like really, really exhausted. I'm just like, what am I doing? Just heaping more things in my plate instead of taking a break and listening to myself and saying, okay, maybe I just need to like slow down, take a breath, and just go, okay, does this really need to be done today, or can we reschedule it for something else? And once again, it's individual. You have to know yourself, know your schedule, and know when you're pushing yourself too hard. And I think we as women tend to do that more so than our partners do. They're content to watch us. So I guess that's a Meno moment. It's just recognizing and honoring yourself. So what about you, Erin?
Yeah, so kind of dovetails in with yours too, Robin, as far as just awareness around mindset stuff, right? I know in the mornings what I need to do for myself to help me get through the day and feeling good and energetic. And this morning, waking up to my mind telling me and trying to convince me to stay one more hour back in bed. And that I don't really need to do, the things that I know that I need to do that really will support me in the day. So I didn't stay in bed an extra hour. I did get up and I did do those things, but sometimes it just feels some days like I'm trying to like walk through quicksand, I guess, to try to get those things done versus like getting up and going, right? And so, I mean, a lot of days it feels good, but there's those days that we really have to, at least for myself, kind of tune in and say, do I really need more rest? Or is this my mind trying to hold me back from what I know I need to do for myself. So it's been my journey, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hear you. It really is. I refer to it as our inner critic talking to us. And sometimes that inner critic, we have conversations with it and we have to decide whether we're going to listen to it or not, right?
Yeah.
And not be deluded by what we consider to be, oh, self-care is, oh, I deserve to rest. I can sleep a little bit longer versus self-care of like, well, no, we decided to get up and do these things to support our health or to support our goals. Really ask myself, is this a self-care need or is this my mind, like we've just been talking about, trying to pull us off track out of old habits?
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like it's kind of that inner saboteur where it's like, it's so convincing, right? Because it's like, ooh, the bed feels so good today. It's like, okay, but I know it also feel better in an hour from now if I do this, right? So absolutely, it's definitely a fine line. And we've all talked about this too prior to this. That's the wisdom I feel too of the age that we're in, that we get to really sit with ourselves and we have this opportunity to get to know ourselves in a deeper way where we get to figure out what that fine line is and what do we really need versus what our mind is trying to tell us to do or not to do, right?
When we're in our menopause journey, too, a lot of those emotions get amplified. And so our inner critic can really take advantage of that and really work on us in a way where it'll tell us to do one thing and we know better not to do it. But that's coming back to knowing yourself. And this journey allows us to do that. Erin, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you came to help women?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I've been a coach for a number of years and started out about 14 years ago. It was in 2000, 99 into 2000, where I became a kettlebell instructor. It was pretty intense training, but loved it, and a nutrition coach, and helped so many people that way. Loved it, was in the best shape of my life, and like literally the best shape of my life. So this is like 14 years ago. I'm 49 now. And so mid 40s kind of crept in, and I had so many stressors in my life. My dad, I was caring for an elderly parent. My kids getting older, kind of wondering like, what's my role here right now? I'm not mom of little kids anymore. They don't need me as much, right? So how do I navigate my energy with my kids? Plus we had a big move, and there was just so many things happening in my life. And then coupled with the onset of perimenopause was like, holy crap, I got my highest weight that I'd ever been. And I wasn't sleeping well. And it all happened like over time. It was just little by little, right? By little and by little, where all of a sudden I'm putting on my clothes like, oh, these don't fit anymore. I don't recognize the person that's looking in the mirror right now. Like, this is not who I envision when I think of myself. And then I look at myself and I'm like, oh boy, no, something's not right here. Anyway, for me, because of my past and my knowledge within the health and wellness industry, helping people through like even emotional things too since then, and just my coaching over the last 14 years, there was a lot of shame within me because I thought I should know what I should be doing. And everything that I was trying to do wasn't really working the same way as what it had 15 years ago, 14 years ago. And so I broke my ankle a year ago and I was completely off my feet. I couldn't move. I was completely immobile. And I think that was really the catalyst for me to say, oh my gosh, I've got to do something here about my health, about my weight, because everything was so much harder and I couldn't move. And I thought, if I don't do something right now about my health, it's just going to be a really hard road the older that I get. But I had to come to terms with the fact that I didn't know everything that I thought that I knew about health and about fitness, because what I was doing wasn't working anymore. So I had to revamp everything and I had to unlearn a lot of things. And I started learning a lot of new things, and not new things, but just a different lens around fitness and nutrition and whatnot, and still able to take in a lot of my other knowledge that I've learned, but putting everything together, started implementing it. And over the months, I lost almost 60 pounds now, and helping other women do the same thing. And it's really a common root that when we can fix our metabolism, that's really what I did. And my hormones balanced out. I don't have any trouble sleeping anymore. In fact, I love sleep again. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I got to a point for a while where I hated to go to sleep. I hated it because I knew I was going to wake up feeling so tired and so groggy. And when we don't get good sleep, it's like I'm moody then that next day. I'm even eating more. I'm craving sugar. I'm doing all these things. And now it's like I love sleeping again because I'm dreaming again. And I've had crazy dreams since I was little. And so everything started to shift around, and I feel like I have my health back, and I love doing that
Wow.
now.
That's an amazing story. And I think a lot of us ladies can very, very much relate to that because our lives have changed and we've had to learn new ways of doing things. I can very much relate to sleep patterns because I used to wake up a lot in the middle of the night and not having dreams and just learning how to sleep again. That really is a big thing because if you're fatigued the next day, you don't make good decisions. Your sugar cravings, like you said, you're tired, you're mentally not at your game. Yeah, and a lot of things come at us at these ages too. So wow, that's really great. I'm so glad that you brought that up because so many of our ladies have problems with that.
May I ask what it was like for you when you had been in the best shape of your life? You were a fitness instructor, kettlebell instructor, and helping them with their weight. And then to find that what you were teaching and what you had known to be true was no longer working.
Well, yeah, there was some shame in there because I should know what I need to do in order to remedy this. And I apparently don't have all the information because my sleep is still whatever, you know what I mean? My energy is still drained. My moods are still all over the place. The scale is still a roller coaster for me. And knowing that there had to be well, and here's what I found out. It wasn't that like what I knew was wrong necessarily. It was the approach of it, and that there was more pieces that I didn't know. There were more pieces to the puzzle. Like our health is a puzzle. And when we only have a few pieces of it, we're only able to have part of that puzzle fixed, right? Or put in. But I feel like as we get older, when more of our own puzzle health, like the sleep, the energy, the weight, the moody, all that stuff happens, we're like, holy crap, like it's easier to fix when I'm, in my 30s or, in my 20s and 30s, close to being 50, right? So I have to look at what are those other puzzle pieces that I wasn't taught or I wasn't told when I was going through my own health journey before. And so, yeah, it's definitely a very humbling moment when we have to go, oh, maybe I know some things, but I need to relearn some things too. And I need to get back into this and then start experimenting. And that's one of the biggest things. I'm a big experimenter. I experiment with everything. And I encourage all my clients to do the same thing.
What is one thing, an example that you can give us of what you had to repuzzle, reshape, relearn? One thing.
Biggest thing?
The biggest thing.
Fat is not our enemy.
Yes.
So let's share a little bit more about that. Why is fat not our enemy?
Because we need fat. Fat's been demonized for years and years and years and blamed for high cholesterol, high triglycerides, all of those things. And it's not the fat. It's actually the sugar and the carbs over time and over the years that build up and build up and build up. And so when we understand what are actually healthy fats that help to feed our brain, like our brain needs fat. That's the tip, is fat. Fat is our friend. It's just we have to know what kind of fats are healthy.
Yes. My own mother, she passed away 10 years ago. I think it was in the 80s or early 90s. She was going through menopause and her cholesterol was high and it freaked her out because they wanted to put her on statins. So she decided, because that was the thinking at the time, is just go on the no fat. That was during the time where SnackWells and, no fat, no fat, no fat. And I can remember her idea of a healthy dinner, because it was fat-free, was a fat-free tortilla and cheese whiz. And that was because there's no fat in this. And and I feel really bad because she didn't really have a problem with her weight, but I'm just thinking, oh my God, all that fat-free stuff. I mean, yeah, of course, there's our good fats and our unhealthy fats. We want to obviously make the choices more towards healthier fats. But man, I think there was a whole generation of people that were told, oh, fat is terrible. It's the worst thing. So cut it all out. I remember in college, I had a friend who would order a pizza and she would pull all the cheese off of it and just eat the crust and sauce because she had to cut out the fat.
Yeah, some of the things that we put ourselves through thinking that we're doing the right thing for, I mean, it's just crazy. I think back on the keto diet, and I'm not trying to knock keto or anything, but it never worked for me because I liked all the fatty stuff. So I kind of picked and I actually gained weight on the keto instead of losing weight. So I knew that that wasn't the right plan for me, but it's worked for a lot of women. When you work it, you work it.
Yeah, a lot of people see the fat bombs and they look really good, but most people don't need them because let's focus on the healthy fats.
Well, that's the thing. It's a recipe for disaster if we're increasing our fat, but we're still taking in a bunch of sugar and carbs. That's the killer right there. You know what I mean? And the other thing that I've really learned is health is so individual. And I have women sometimes that say, just tell me what I need to do. And it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, though, because I don't know your history. I don't know what you've tried before. I don't know if you have diagnosis. I don't know how your sleep is. I think that when we realize that when we're following a diet or just a general program out there, we're not taking into account our own needs and how it will really support us because we're only looking at a result. We just want to lose 10 pounds rather than going, what's going to really support my weight from the foundation so that I can really truly like be healthy. It's healthy is not just losing 10 pounds. How are we losing those 10 pounds though, right? Like we could be losing muscle and bone and losing 10 pounds on the scale, but that doesn't make us healthier. Right.
Yeah. Which kind of leads us into, I mean, there's the way we're choosing to fuel our bodies, right? And the way we burn food that we take in and the ways of moving our body for health definitely are a big factor in. But don't you find that the emotional and the why of how they feel about themselves, they have to lose 10 pounds. They're terrified of the 10 pounds that they've put on. Some of us is more than 10 pounds, but you get what my drift. But then there's a whole underlying reason of what those 10 pounds mean to them and how they perceive that society views them for gaining that weight. Do you find that comes into play?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think emotions, it's one of the things that's the foundation of the work that I do with my clients, because that's one part of the coaching I've done too since 14 years ago was health and nutrition. And then I kind of evolved into realizing so much of it is emotional, like it's all emotional. That's the foundation of it, right? And so when we start to look at some of those beliefs that are underlying under the surface of what's causing me to eat right now, what's like an external trigger in my life or stressor in my life that now is making me want to just stuff it, right? Like with food, or it could be alcohol, food, doesn't matter. I mean, we all have our vice. We all do, right? Food is just one of them, right? That we stuff our emotions down because we don't want to feel it because we haven't been taught in this culture. I'm not trying to bash Western society because I think there's a lot of benefits too, but we're not taught like in other cultures how to really move through and navigate through our emotions and to feel sadness and to feel grief, right? And to feel these things. And it's kind of like what Robin was saying before when you were like, oh, I just got to clean up my car and got to do, right? That's kind of the philosophy so much of this kind of go culture, right? So we don't slow down enough to go, oh, whoa, how do I actually like really feel about this right now? We don't have anybody to teach us that either, right? So like as a kid, I mean, there's trauma with a big T and there's trauma with a little t. That's kind of how I look at it, right? This is just a simple example, but I mean, if we have, say, a grandparent or a parent that like rewards or say it's like a pain with sugar, let's just say that, right? Like, oh, let's go get an ice cream cone. You got to be right. That pattern gets ingrained in us, like in our subconscious over time. So as we get to be an adult, that's a pattern. It's like, oh, I don't feel good. So now I'm going to eat. right?
Exactly.
I don't feel good, so I'm going to eat. And so we don't realize like what we're doing. We're just reliving those patterns over and over again until we start to become aware of those. And to your point on this culture, as far as how we're looked at as females too, in our body, right? I have a good friend that lives in Greece and she moved there from the US probably 7-8 years. Her whole process of her body confidence has just risen and exploded over in another country that is, it's just the way they look at women and the feminine is so different. It's just so honored and revered, right? No matter if there's 10, 20, 30 extra pounds or whatever, it's just the fact that it's a feminine and it's a different energy, and women are embraced in a different way and looked at in a different way, where I feel like when we grow up with this unrealistic expectations of being beautiful and having this perfect airbrushed body, it's just not real. You know,
I think back of the messages that I grew up around with the people closer to me in my life about women, keep your looks, don't gain weight. Yeah, you're going to get old and all of that, but as long as you keep your weight down, it's like the worst thing in the world is to gain weight. And I even remember reading some book, like it was historical fiction or whatever. And the main character, she was probably in her 40s. And she's like, well, I've been through all this, but at least I didn't get fat. I kept my slim figure. That is such a sad way. And I think so many of us in this culture grew up with that of like looking down on, okay, well, we're older. If you can't keep your looks up and can't prove that you're taking care of yourself by not gaining any weight and not letting yourself go, then your life has no value. And that sounds like a really harsh thing to say, but the mere fact that it's coming out of my mouth means that, hey, that's a message that at least that I'm working through in my own life.
Yeah. I totally agree. The messaging that our young people are getting is so mixed. Some of it is you have to be this certain figure, and so women try to make their bodies look like that. That's a message, and we're bombarded with it on social media and on television and movies, wherever you go. And we're not honoring our women, especially our young generation coming up, that they have to fit into this mold. We should be supporting them and letting them know that it's your inner beauty, it's your strengths, it's how you live your life authentically that is the most important thing, that is valued. And as we get older too, the wisdom that we have at the ages that we are now should be valued and revered and brought to the forefront, because we have lived through this life with so many lessons that we have learned. And how do we share those with the younger generation that's coming up, that they don't have to fit into these molds, that they can value who they are? So very good points, Erin. And I really do like it, because like you said, it's the emotions are our foundation at the basis of every why are we doing this? Why are we not content with who we are right now? And how do we actually start working with those emotions in order to heal them from traumas that we've had from the past, and start thinking about ourselves in a different way that is more healthy and productive, instead of beating ourselves up because we can't be this perfect image that we have in our minds about what we're supposed to be or look like or do. So when we can actually stop and take the time to reflect and start making new changes, new ways of thinking, new pathways, we can see that we can be happier. We can balance this puzzle. We can solve the puzzle. I love your puzzle analogy, because there's so many different ways the puzzle can go together. And that's a lot of our journey that we get to discover and grow into.
I just want to quick respond to something you said too, as far as these unrealistic expectations that we have. It just made me think of something is, if I know that I'm catching myself in a moment where I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm feeling, whatever it is that's coming, that's allowing me to feel just not good, right? Like not like, oh, I have to take a look and go, okay, what am I expecting? What am I expecting it should be that it's not, that I'm actually pushing against? Does that make sense?
Elaborate on that if you would, though, because I get it, but I don't think a lot of our audience might not.
Yeah. So it's our own resistance, right, to what is, that's causing our stress, our overwhelm, because of these expectations that we're holding onto that aren't manifesting for us the way that we think they should, if that makes sense, right? We're not looking the way that we think that we should. Our body isn't the way that we think it should. Maybe our partner isn't the way that we think they should be. Our job, people, what, all those things versus going, okay, whoa, what is actually happening right now? It's my resistance to what my own thoughts in my mind about, because of my own expectations of what I think should be happening that are not happening, that's causing my pain.
How does that show up when women come to you? Is that where the modes of resistance come in, or is that something different?
Well, it could be that. It could be even just beliefs. Like, what belief am I holding right now that's not aligning or not in agreement with what's actually happening right now that's causing this discomfort in my relationship or with my children or whatever. So I'll give you an example. So this is like years ago, and my son was, I don't know if you have boys, but like in young boys, they got tons of energy, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, right? And so I'm sitting in our living space area and we have hardwood floors in the whole area. He's comes running down the hall in socks and he's sliding through the living room area, right? And he's just having a blast. He's having a good time. I though am having this expectation in my mind that I wanted it to be quiet. I was getting things done in my own mind. And so I'm like frustrated with him, right? Because I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that. And then I had to catch myself of like, whoa, why shouldn't he be doing that? It made me think about like, whoa, I'm expecting him to be quiet. I'm expecting him to basically not be who he is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And because of that, I was stressed and I was very overwhelmed. And so I completely snapped at him and then caught myself like, oh my gosh, that's not how I want to talk to my son. But I was overwhelmed and stressed at that time. And I wasn't communicating what I needed in that moment, right? He's just being him. And so my expectation of how I thought he should be at, I don't know, 13 or whatever, 12 years old, and not doing that in the house, I had this belief that he should just be quiet. He shouldn't be playing and he should be outside if he's going to be doing that. He shouldn't be doing that inside and whatnot. So then that got me all in a tizzy, basically, about. And so it just creates a lot of stress, unnecessary stress sometimes when we can take a look and go, oh, what's causing me to actually put this on him, my own belief around him not being able to just have fun like in the house. Like he wasn't doing anything, he wasn't causing any harm, he wasn't breaking anything or anything like that. It's part of the whole slowing down of like, okay, whoa, what is happening right now? And what is going on within me that I'm thinking it should be different than what it is?
That's a really good point because that goes back to old belief systems that are no longer serving us anymore, but still are operating in our subconscious. And when you start re-examining those old belief systems and what they're causing you to do or how to react or your expectations, then you can realize, well, at one point, that belief system, when we were younger and going through whatever trauma we were going through, was protecting us. But now, as an adult or the age that we are now, it no longer serves us. We don't need it, but it still shows up to protect us.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of that resistance. That's part of that old belief system. That's part of that inner critic that comes up. And that's all underneath the mindset shifts that we need to do as mature women,
Absolutely.
Examine our motives is like, why are we thinking that that's okay? Well, maybe at one time it was.
Yeah. Well, the highest purpose of the subconscious mind is to protect us, to take care of us, to keep us safe, to bring us joy, to avoid pain and discomfort. So just like Erin, you said, the child who gets rewarded by her grandparents taking her out for ice cream. So the subconscious mind is like, ooh, whenever I need a reward, ice cream is it. And so they made that connection. Same thing here. What beliefs? The subconscious mind latches on to a belief or an idea or a habit or a behavior that it has coded, it has decided a long time ago is the end all be all best way to solve this problem. And it's going to need a lot of convincing to let go sometimes. And it has to be convinced. And there's so many different ways. The three of us here have different ways of helping with that. But basically, we're talking about encouraging and teaching that subconscious mind how to break that connection between what it's doing and why into something that's going to work better, healthier, bring even more reward than what that ice cream cone could do.
I have to pause right here for a second because I just had this like mind flash. around ice cream, because ice cream is my favorite go-to
Oh yeah.
dessert. I'm not like a sweet cake person or anything like that, but ice cream really is like, that's the one. And so just kind of thinking about our conversation, because I can remember growing up, we weren't rich or anything like that. Ice cream was a luxury, it was a treat. And so on Sundays after church, we would go down to the Dairy Maid. It was the Dairy Maid, and we would get those chocolate vanilla swirls ice
Yep.
creams.
Oh,
I
yeah.
look forward to that every single week. That was like the best part of the day, is getting that ice cream, because I knew I was going to have that treat. And so I guess subconsciously I have ingrained that ice cream is my reward. It's my treat. Now, knowing that,
Mhm. Yeah.
I can now, go, okay, I can do ice cream. I can't do like a lot of it, and I can't do it every single night, but I can treat myself. And now
Yep.
I know that is a good, healthy treat, because there's a lot of different kinds out there. And I'm not poor like I was. I can go down to the store any day at any moment and get myself ice cream. But now I can understand why it feels so special to me.
Absolutely. The way I always tell my clients is, we're not trying to take that feeling away from you, not trying to take that away from you, but the occasional rewarding ourselves with ice cream is one thing. It's when it's multiple times a day or every day, where that is the end all be all. It's kind of like with smoking, not
Yeah.
wanting to take that away. But anyways, Erin, when women are coming up, what are they resisting when it comes to their health?
I think that that's a lot of things. A lot of times it's the fear that they're not going to be successful.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Maybe there's this tendency to sabotage, because it's the subconscious coming in again, right? To try to sabotage, because it's like this belief of like, I'm not going to be successful anyway. So why try? That's one of the things, right? And then if I
Yes.
try, then I'll only be able to go so far, and then kind of go back, right? It's kind of the upper limits thing. If you ever read The Big Leap, by Gay Hendricks. But as far as like resistance, I just think there's a lot of fear around change too, because when we change anything, it's like the subconscious, right? Whatever you want to call it, subconscious, or even like ego, or a lot of people have different terms for the same thing. But like you're saying, it's that protective mechanism. So if there's an identity that is within where we're at right now, we might consciously say, I want to change. I want to shift. Like, I want to feel better. I want a different job. I want to make more money. I want a partner who's going to support me. I want to be healthier. All of those things, right? That may come up. But then to actually have that, or to do that, does require truly building a whole new identity for ourselves, because it's the person that we're at right now doesn't know what that's like to have something that's so different, right? So we have to become that person that has that supportive partner, or that can truly stay on the road of optimal health and do those things every day to support themselves. And it requires becoming a different person. Well, becoming a different person is scary, because
There's a
we
lot
have
of
to
unknowns.
It is terrifying.
things, right? So there's a lot of resistance around that, because it's like, oh my gosh, who would I be without this? Right? Who would I be without this? And that's why support is so important, right? When you can have it, whether it's girlfriends that have been through it, or if you get a therapist or a coach or something like that, because to make that shift, to really make those shifts, like, it is about becoming a new version of yourself. And there's going to be a ton of resistance around that. And it's tricky. Our mind is so tricky. Just like what I was saying earlier, like, oh, you could sleep in another. I mean, it will come up with every little thing to try to keep us right here, to try to keep us from not changing. And I think it's rooted in fear, really.
It brings back a memory of some different times in my life when I have made changes for my health, because, okay, well, here I am, this person, part of my identity, it impacts other people. So for maybe example, my husband and I like to go out and we like to drive around and spend some time together, get out of the house and just go for a drive, listen to a podcast, and maybe we eat little candies along the way and just talk. Well, okay, that's going to have to change. And so instead of during that time, part of my identity might become, I'm a person who during this time instead goes for a walk or goes for a swim or does something different. Well, that takes away a little bit from my husband and who he sees me as is, well, this is my wife, this is our time together. And in my mind, it can be, okay, well, the healthy Marti, the one that takes care of her health, her new identity is someone who has these habits, but there is a trade-off. And obviously there's other things that I can do with him and we can work that out. But I have seen with myself and with the people that I've worked with is, okay, but that identity of a person who's going to make these change her habits, and it impacts other people and they may not like it. Yeah. And I may not like it. So that it's a very complicated experience, and we have to be willing to do that, and or to think it through or feel it through of, okay, well, this is the identity of the person that I want to be and I want to become, and embracing what those changes are, even if it means that other people are going to look at us differently. I'm not going to be available to do the things that you're used to me doing, or maybe I'm not going to cook the foods that you're used to me cooking.
Yeah. And when you brought up such a good point there, and I do feel too that it requires having those hard conversations too with the people that we love in our lives as well too, when we do want to have that change. But the thing is, this is the hard part though too with that, not only having those conversations, because sometimes that can be hard, right? Like to have those conversations, especially when we know it's going to affect maybe a bonding time, like you were saying with you and your husband eating the candies in the car and stuff like that, right? But it's also too of like the people in our lives are used to us being this identity.
Yes.
So when we start to shift and change that, there can be a lot of resistance in the environments and people around us also, that depending on how truly we know ourselves and how solid we are in ourselves, that will take us right back to that old identity. And I think this is why, like, and I'm not advocating for divorces, I'm not advocating for this, but I think that this is why part of the reason that that's so high after around that 40 mark, it's like we start to go, what the heck do I even want in my life anymore? You know, and like, does this person even support that? We sometimes have a whole shift of friends too, and a spouse and a partner. And because we start to have that awakening a little bit about who we are. And I think it can get really hard if we know those things. Like, I mean, this is a lot of the women that I work with too, where they're in their 50s maybe now. And at that time, around that 40 mark, 42, 44, even maybe mid 30s, they knew, but they didn't do anything about it. And so now they're stuck in this space where they're like, they have a lot of regret, and now they feel like it's too late now. It's complex and it can just be really challenging. But I really do believe though that midlife is this time. You know, I have an astrology background as well too. And the midlife crisis is really a time in our life that's actually in our charts as well too, of like a time where it is a very uncertain time where everything, if we're not aligned, right? And anybody listening too, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but whatever is not aligned in our life at that time will get taken out or try to get taken out. And that's why it can feel so uncertain as a job, right? Like a spouse, like a divorce. And it can feel really, really unsettling. And that's why it's so important to do this work and come back to ourselves and to know that our identity is shifting and to really move with that shift, even though it feels really uncertain and we don't know where we're going to end up.
It is a little scary.
Yeah.
I just want to go back because you were talking about these shifts. And I think that when we start recognizing those shifts because of the ages that we start also redefining our boundaries and our limits and what we're willing to accept, tolerate, and who we let into our life. I think there's a lot of women that wake up in their 50s and go, my kids are grown and I have a partner. Are we still in love? Do we have anything in common? Or is it just the familiarity of having this relationship over and over and over again? You know, those are important conversations to have. And I'm not advocating for divorce either, but I'm speaking from experience that a lot of people do start reevaluating what is going on in their life. And a lot of my clients, that's the story that they say as well. It's just like, who am I now in this age today? And what do I want to be? What does that look like? And so when I work with my clients, I help them to start identifying those, because when you start identifying what it is, how you want to show up, how you want to be authentic in your life, then a lot of things start shifting. And yes, it can be a very scary thing because our subconscious wants to keep us here when we really need to expand to here. So working with a coach, like Marti or Erin or I does help you to start identifying who you are and start seeing the best of you and start developing that and putting those pieces together and start looking at those limiting beliefs and start creating new healthy ones and start looking at your life in a different way, because we probably are not all going to be gym rats, but we have to do something to exercise and start being healthy. Well, what does that really look like? When I work with my clients, we really start painting that picture. And once we get really clear about that, then we can become these amazing women. We can start having these great conversations and we can start helping others. But it will have tough conversations, especially with your kids or your family or your friends, and the shifting lifestyles that we have. And when you start shifting lifestyles, it's a little uncomfortable at first, but then overall you realize that you are healthier, that you are happier when you go through those shifts. So yeah, that's amazing.
I love what you said about coming into this age. We're starting to feel what we are no longer in alignment with. And I feel like as we go through this transition, this is a time in our lives where we get to determine and we get to decide who we want to be and what we want our lives going forward. What you said with the astrology background, and it reminded me that, yeah, this is an evolution of our journey here on this life. And it really helps me to know that, okay, this is natural. This is a time to kind of look at, who am I? And going back to identity, we're so used to taking care of everyone else. We're so used to who others see us as and what our role is. And then we come through this time where that falls out of alignment. And this is actually forcing us, if we want to look at it that way, to really take stock of who we are, where we are, what is important to us, and put ourselves first. Get those needs taken care of, probably for most of us for the first time in our lives. And to step outside, again, stepping out of our comfort zone, because that might mean my husband's needs or his wants or his desires are going to fall a little bit. My kids, who they see me as.
There's a ton of resistance even around just what you said about putting our needs first.
Yes.
They're going back to the beliefs that we have around it's selfish to put yourself first. It's selfish to, especially as women, right? Like we are so programmed in this space. And it's like probably things that we were told when we were little that we don't even remember, but it was just over and over and over again. So now it's this program of like, oh, I can't put myself first. I can't put myself first. What does that mean? Oh, that means I'm selfish. That means I'm, a terrible person. That means I'm a terrible mom. That means I'm a terrible wife, whatever it is, right? We all have our own beliefs around that. But the reality is, if I can't take care of myself first, I can't take care of my kids.
Right.
I can't. Like, there's no way. I can't take care of my clients if I am constantly making sure they're okay before me. I have to fill that place up within me. It's that old saying of like, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so we have to reprogram these beliefs to say, oh my gosh, it's not selfish. Like we have to be selfish to be selfless.
Yes.
So we have to be selfish to be selfless. Like, because if I'm not taking care of me, then I am no good to anybody else.
Exactly. And, not just our families, because they are looking to us because we have this revered role. And we see in other cultures that they revere us when we get to this stage. And we'd like to see that here. And that starts with ourselves. We have to revere ourselves the most and embrace it all: warts, wrinkles, gray hairs, extra pounds, and all to embrace that.
I love this conversation, and I've been having it the last couple of days, and this is where a lot of women are at this point in their lives. It's nice that you have put the health and fitness piece into it, because women will reach out for the physical first before they start looking at the emotional.
I never lead with emotional, like when I'm talking to clients, because unless like they know and they've said certain things, but most of them, they just don't even know until they start to get that awareness. And once they get that, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that this was a factor in anything. So whether it's health or our business, our finances, our relationships, it's everything. Mindset, emotional, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
For it all. It's that important. And at the same time, it's the thing that we're not as aware of really in this culture as much, or I think just maybe as humans. I do feel like more of us that start talking about it and like kind of bring it into awareness of like, oh, wow, we can start to see ourselves through that lens of I wonder what else is at play here.
So, Erin, this has been an amazing conversation, and we could talk so much more about it. But some final thoughts. What do you think? What are your final thoughts?
This time in our lives as women in midlife is truly an interesting time, and it can be a hard time and it can be a very empowering time. And when it comes down to it, it really is our choice and what we want to focus on. And I think that's where the empowerment comes in, is when we can really ask ourselves, what do I want in this? How do I want to live the last half of my life as the best half of my life? And it is everything from our physical to our emotional to our mental to our spiritual health. And we just can't get away from that and in this time in our life. And so the more we focus on those aspects of who we are, the healthier all around we're going to be, the happier, the more vibrant that we're really going to feel in our life. And that's the medicine. Our vibrancy and our essence is the actual medicine that people need from us more than anything else.
Oh, that's so powerful. Absolutely. That is the medicine that we need as women, is to come alongside and be supportive of our ladies and of ourselves, giving ourselves a lot of love and grace and having these conversations, discovering again who we are and looking at the whole of our life, the whole picture, and realizing that this is a journey we get to walk, and how empowered we are to make these really good decisions, and that we can reach out. We're not alone. And it's groups like the Menopause Facebook group for women. That's a great place to start, to meet care providers, to meet women that are going through the same things that you are going through, and to share your stories and share your experiences, because women need to hear that, and they need to hear that you're not alone, that there are many women that are going through the exact same things, and we're here to support you and care about you and just give you all that love and attention that you need. We all need that as women, that validation that we are a strong, positive, healthy women. We can walk through this menopause journey, and we don't have to do it by ourselves, and we can do it in health and peace and harmony. So great. That's awesome. So Erin, how do women find you to work with you?
Yeah. Well, I'm on Facebook. That's my main social media. So and it's just Erin Esser on Facebook. Really simple. Just my first and last name. Nothing too crazy there. And I also have a website, just erinesser.com. But I do have a free guide if anybody's interested as well too, where I do have 3 tips that I share on what's helped me in my own health journey, and what I share actually with clients as well too that I have. And that's just erinesser.com/free guide. And I actually, to keep it simple, I have it's a guide, but then at the end, I have a printable thing where you can print it off, put it on your refrigerator, put it on your mirror, something simple, because I know how it is. We have so much stuff in our life, and just to have another guide, it feels sometimes overwhelming. So let's keep it simple and start getting results and start feeling good. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So now all your information will be below in the notes. So check that out. If you want to get a hold of Marti or I'm bodymindcoaching.biz. And I also have a lot of great freebie stuff that I love to share. So check us out. Check out the Menowave Lounge podcast. So you have a lot of resources, ladies. So go join them. Well, thank you, Erin, for being with us today. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. And have a great day from the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.
Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marti, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.